laugh pretty hard. That's all I have to say. You like doppelgangler? It's a gangly doppel. I'm kind of weirded out by the fact that Dwarf Fortress doesn't have mimics. You know? The werebed has arrived. A bed twisted into humanoid form. It is crazed for sleeping flesh, and its eyes glow pillows. No, just look up Cam. See, not Cam Girls movies, literally just Cam, C-A-M. I think it's on Shudder. I think that's where I watched it. It's literally just one word. If you add other words, Google will get lost. I mean, I already do. In fact, Zachary. I don't know. I mean, I feel like a mimic wouldn't be twisted into humanoid form, though. It's like the bed shambles and begins to move. Teeth come out of the mattresses. I mean, here's the thing, Aaron Gray. There was a while there where there was a problem with bots. Like, basically not stealing the usernames of channels on Twitch, but like making usernames that were very similar. And then they would take the same like descriptions and panels and profile picture and background and like download clips and upload them to their channel, because you could do that at that time, basically mimicking your channel if you were somebody who was anybody on Twitch. And then they would DM people using whispers and tell them that they won giveaways and try and scam them. It's not so much of an issue these days, but it was a big problem on Twitch for a while. This was like almost pre-pandemic. This was a while ago. Closer to 2019-ish. And I remember just going through and like reporting dozens of clones of my own account. Yes, that's it. That is it, Darius. But this is the meme of the two Spider-Mans poke at each other. Yes, exactly. Death by sleeping. And there was part of it that was kind of funny, but like it was very much kind of the era where it was like, yeah, don't trust DMs. I'm not sending you DMs. Please do not respond to DMs from me. The very beginning of that stuff. But what was the first version of Dwarf Fortress I played? And do I miss the pre-Steam versions, or do you prefer the transition? I think that's a silly question, because it's still the same game. Like, do you miss earlier versions of Minecraft? Or do you miss earlier versions of League of Legends? Sure. But it's still the same game. Maybe League of Legends is a bad example. It's more like single-player games generally. Do you miss earlier versions of anything? I don't really, because I think that earlier versions of Dwarf Fortress had... There's enough things that are, like, massive positive changes about Premium that make those versions just completely obsolete in my brain. Things like you had to deconstruct a floor before you could build a wall, or like dwarves would just deconstruct floors underneath each other and kill each other. There was enough like things that I think most people don't even notice or think about these days that are changed between the old versions and the new versions. Some people go on about like, oh, I missed the ASCII. It's like, I don't care. Some people go on about, I missed the hotkeys. I don't care. It's still the same game. It doesn't really matter what it looks like to me. The earliest version that I played was 34D, I think. It was when there was 64 Z levels in vertical. It was around 2009. It was either 64 or 32, actually. I mean, there's people who like playing older versions of World of Warcraft. I think that portion of a community will always exist. You know, there's people that didn't like RuneScape 3. Most people. But, like, there's people still playing, not playing Payday 3. Most people. I think that I don't fully get the portion of the Dwarf Fortress community that is version 47 is the best version, and that's the only version I will ever play. Because it runs like shit. Like, I don't get the... It's like, when you're in a position of any kind of popularity, like, I feel like shit whenever I talk about myself this way, but people know who I am in this community, right? I get this question a lot, which is, will you ever go back and play version 47, or do you miss version 47? No and no. Because version 47 is a far inferior version of the game. Just performance, playability, readability, watchability. Like, I think if I were to point out one thing and be like, I wish I had that back, it would just be, I wish digging too deeply and greedily was closer to the way it was before, which is just like you chisel through the side of like an adamantine spire and it just happens. I don't like the gems and like the monsters and the diamonds everywhere and stuff. And I wish diamonds were rare. I don't like that they're just like in every map. And the only other thing that I miss about the older versions is that it didn't tell you what kinds of metal were on the map when you started. It just said some metals, deep metals, or shallow metals. Or all three. And I miss that. But the reason they changed it is because the vast majority of the player base hated that. And so I acknowledge that as a better space for the game to be in. The game runs 100 times better. That's an exaggeration, but like this computer that I can get, you know, 100 frames a second with 250 dwarves on a large map most of the time until something weird starts happening or I'm doing some weird physics things is like ridiculous. Whereas like I can't run 140 dwarves with higher than 30 frames a second on version 47 on the same computer. So I don't know why you would want to play an older version. There are people still making mods for super old versions of Minecraft, and that's awesome. More power to them. You ever stream Dwarf Fortress gameplay focused on culture and books and those things? There isn't that much there to really do much with. Cornetto. Which is the problem. A lot of that stuff is like filled in by your own headcanon. Because a lot of that stuff is like minimal flavor text. So there isn't much to do there. Like I've certainly made... The reason I think like Overwatch 1 or League of Legends are a bad example of missing older versions of games, Darius, is those versions you can't go back and play. It's more of a relevant discussion to Dwarf Fortress if it's a version of a game that you can still go get and play, you know? Like, I miss Battlefield 2, but I could just go play Battlefield 2 if I wanted to, you know? I miss Battlefield Bad Company 2, and that's much harder to go play. You know, like all those people who miss Skate 3, it's like, yeah, you can go play Skate 3, but you have to go get an emulator. You have to go, you know, just do all sorts of things to play Skate 3. It's more of a, like, do you miss version 47 of Dwarf Fortress? I could literally just go, well, I mean, I have it installed, but I could just go to bay12games.com, scroll down a little bit and grab it and download it and play it. It's still there. It's still accessible. Same with older versions of Minecraft because those were all released DRM free. You know, it's like, if someone said, I miss SimCity 2013, it's like, well, playing SimCity 2013 in the current year is actually a little difficult. You know, or like, whenever, oh, what's the name of that game? Whenever, like, Warframe finally shuts down, or, there's probably people out there that miss early versions of Warframe back when the jumping was still a bug and not a designed mechanic. Like, a game that you can't go back and play now that no longer exists because it's been updated isn't really relevant here. So go play it, Bonesaw. What? I don't... Pardon? But, like, they... to my knowledge, like, you can't play Bad Company 2 online anymore because they... Like, actually, missing Warcraft 3 before Reforged came out? Because, like, as far as I know, you can't play Warcraft 3 anymore, right? Like, as far as I know, that's a thing. I could be wrong there. But yeah, I don't know. It's an all over the place thing. I mean, there are private servers for Concord. Aaron Gray. You could go play that. All right. I want to end this fortress. Because I want to say that by the end of today, I will be able to pretty safely say that I've beaten this challenge. I don't really have much of a military, or at the very least, I've built a successful fortress without digging. It's October, as some of you may have noticed, and fuck that person in my building who already has a Christmas tree set up. It's October. Why do you have a Christmas tree? Anyway, it's October, and I want to do a Halloween fort. And I've been thinking about, I was thinking earlier in the month about making this fort into a Halloween fort. I don't really want to do that. I think I'm just going to probably end up retiring this fort as is and just letting it do its thing. I mean, I want to do, like, necromancers or something. I don't have too much of it. I have a bit of an idea, but I don't want to talk about that too much. Ports of Pain. Because right now, the plan is figure out how to end this fort in a dramatic fashion. That's the current project. We'll worry about the next fort when I start the next fort. It'll probably be in the same world as this one, though. I'll say that much. So that's the Ghost of Christmas Future Scary Tree. Yeah, it's a Christmas tree mimic. So I, for this fort, would like over the next either today and tomorrow, figure out how to end it. And you kept it up all year long. I mean, I have tea lights, but I think there's a difference between like keeping lights up all year and just like changing the colors if people, because a lot of people have like, you know, LEDs and such. I think I want to make my Baron happy. That's something I would like to do. I would like to make my Baron happy because my Baron is not happy. Decidedly not happy. And I want to finish sealing it up. Revert the waterfall and flood it. That would actually be really hard to do because of how this fortress... I physically couldn't actually flood this currently. Like, chat was talking about maybe caving it into the river, and, like... I don't know how I would do that right now, actually. Like, looking at it, like, I've built this thing so much as, like, a... It probably can't be caved in thing. I don't know how I would do that, actually. I was thinking about, like, maybe caving in these upper levels, but that would just put a whole bunch of holes down in here, which would just kind of annoying to fix. So I did this challenge once before, and I did flood it at the end. And the way I did it was I built a big reservoir above the fortress, and then flooded it. But, like, I don't know if that's all that interesting, really, I guess is the problem. I mean, we could do it with a massive siege. That's absolutely a way we could do it. I mean, I've already got a population cap, and we're not that far away from finishing, like, bedrooms for everybody. I mean, I just need to finish this layer. And we've got bedrooms for more than everybody. And this layer, which is actually ready to have more bedrooms in it. So, find a way to burn it. That is, like, entirely luck, basically. Because to burn it, I would need lava or a dragon. And I don't have any guarantee a dragon will show up. And I can't dig. So I can't get lava. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to do an adventurer next. I'll say that, but I feel like most of my forts could be fun to explore as an adventurer. I think like exploring a fort as an adventurer though, right after you finish it is actually not that interesting. It's like the next fort after, or 2 forts later, or 3 forts later, you would explore it in adventure mode. It becomes interesting. They've actually started getting annoyed with me. It's taken 13 years almost, Peregrine. So yeah, I mean, I would love fire, but that's just kind of up to a dragon showing up. The named dwarves in the fort currently are Earbiter, Devilish Potato, Norbert, Themis, Steve the Third, Jade Bond, Dulcan, Frank, Net Fraser, Elray, Dracogen, I could try and scuttle the fort. I think like that's probably the most like reasonable thing that I could do. Ooh, you know what I could do? I could build a big water reservoir on the surface and then flood it. No, the elves aren't at war yet. No. You know, chat's been like shocked and amazed the entirety of this fortress about how like if I had $1 for every time somebody asked me if the elves are pissed at me yet, I'd be making an extra like $15 to $20 a day. Happy Bassett. Because they haven't invaded me yet. And I've been like clear cutting half the map a year. Like it's actually genuinely nuts to me. Seth Rogaine is still alive. Stormwolf, Darius Carden, and Sangor as well. Romanoid, and Ash, as well as Tyrantos and Devoted Mortal. Rage Bonker. Gigmoth, Fool Joss. Rolf. You're Junior. So I had an idea. Can you get a dwarf? Absolutely not. Of course. What kind of dwarf would you like? I have an idea. Chat was saying, what if we make things attack me? We can attack things. This fortress is Luddites. Why don't we steal books, put them all in a stockpile, and crush them? Happy and bearded. That's possible. We could maybe find somebody who's happy and also has beard, like this dwarf. Some otters. I never spell your name with a 0. Sorry about that. Impervious to the effects of stress, is a nervous wreck. What? And is truly fulfilled by assisting those in need. He's often sad and dejected and isn't particularly curious about the world. He doesn't easily fall in love or develop positive feelings. He has an active imagination and he tends to hang on to grievances. He tends to form only tenuous emotional bonds with others and is quick to anger. He chews his lips when he's bored and he needs alcohol to get through the working day and doesn't really mind being outdoors, at least for a time, and doesn't really care about anything anymore. He dreams of creating a great work of art and personally finds sacrifice to be one of the highest ideals, holds the idea of competition among the most important, is affronted by the whole notion that one of maintaining decorum and finds so-called dignified people disgusting, values tranquility and a peaceful day and finds peace over war, values peace over war and finds those that deny their impulses somewhat stiff, and dreams of creating a great work of art. I can't do a complete one. Tibe, that would literally take me years. Real time, this world's too big. You're married and you have a child named Cogsack. Your wife's name is Servesh. You are a member of the Godly Coven. And of course, a member of the Jewelers Guild, which I have denied making a guild hall for multiple times. But the game constantly said no. My last Halloween fort. I didn't memorialize a single zombie, and I had to intentionally kill the fort and stop migrants from showing up because I kept getting migrants for some reason, and the dwarves just managed to repopulate faster than the ghosts could kill them. I had a ghost killing a dwarf maybe every 90 seconds, yet like somehow we managed to outpopulate the killing them from the ghosts. So here I have this box. I've built walls all the way from the ground down here, all the way up to here. When this wall is done, it's going to connect to, it connects to the bottom of this. I need to go along here and connect walls to over here and all the way from the bottom and up. All the way down. Well, maybe not all the way down, but at least like all the way down to here. And then fill this all in with floor. And then all the way up to about here. Once I've done that, the fortress is quote-unquote secure. So maybe at that point we just start building a military. Gentlemen, this is a bucket? I mean... I mean, it would drain out the bottom, I think. Wouldn't it? Yeah, it would drain out here. I mean, I could change that, but... Is there any chance that they could make a sprite? There already is one in adventure mode. Or there was one for adventure mode, rather. Is inaccurate. There was one, but they had to remove it because a lot of the sprites got removed before the game actually released properly due to concerns of plagiarism with one of the people who worked on the Steam version initially. Is there any chance that they would do it? Probably. It's just a matter of it being enough of a priority or them getting to it. So go talk to them about that. Cheers to Kenton. Would Dwarven Drano be removing large sums of water? Dwarven Drano would probably be unclogging the bodies out of the drain that you used to drain the large sums of water that you accidentally put in your living room. So I feel like large sums of water being removed from places in Dwarf Fortress is usually an accident, you know? Like, if there's accidentally large sums of water somewhere, not... Like, how often did dwarves intentionally put large sums of water somewhere? I don't think that's a very common thing that the dwarves go about doing, at least not intentionally. Like, I feel like that's a pretty uncommon situation that happens to the dwarves. How you doing today, Suited Giraffe? How is things? I hope that you've been well. I'm trying to build a ramp to get traders into the fortress because I've been very unsuccessful at this. Trying. I think I put those both on the same level, didn't I? Yes, I did. Screw dumping water on prisoners giving me a strong acider base. Then you would want a forgotten beast with deadly dust in a box surrounded by, like, fortifications. It's probably what you would want. That would be my bet. And then also, let's go up to here. Okay. so all of this is done. I can get rid of you, and then we'll get rid of you next. And then it's just this that I gotta finish. What wall is that? Almond? I mean, it looks pretty, so that's why I'm using almond, I suppose. I mean, Deadly Dust, like, is the closest you'll get to that effect. Like, if that's an effect that you're specifically trying to have, Deadly Dust is what you want. For the first time. I'm not gonna lie. I don't understand how that isn't, like, the most American food. Like, how did Canada manage to out-American America? Like, especially, like, in a world where, like, competitive eating exists, I don't understand how Canada managed to out-America America. Like, it confuses me beyond all reason. But yeah, Deadly Dust or, like, noxious, no, not secretions, poison gas. That's one of the two. But, like, I mean, like, Deadly Dust is either going to do almost nothing to them, or it's going to, like, make them immediately bleed out of every hole in their body. And there's, like, no between, right? It's one of the two. They're not coming here! Pangolin. Like, I don't know what... Like, I could go to a butcher shop, maybe, and get cheese curds, or, like, a restaurant supply store, maybe, and get cheese curds, or, like, a cheese maker and get cheese curds. Like, they're not common to purchase anywhere, unless, like, you're buying a poutine kit specifically. But, like, that's always the excuse. It's like, well, cheese curds are hard to buy. It's like, well, they're hard to buy here, too. But restaurants can get them. It's like, restaurants can get all kinds of things that you can't get easily in a normal grocery store. Anyway. I think it's culturally requested and expected to be in most pubs. I mean, it's everywhere in Canada. Iron Grey, it's not even East Coast. Edmonton is all about what now? Okay, I'm learning things about Edmonton I didn't know. But, like, if you go to a grocery store with, like, a full deli, they might have cheese curds. Maybe. Or, like, a big cheese section might have cheese curds. I mean, nacho fries are... Like, I don't know where I would buy nacho cheese. And someone's probably going to be like, Costco. And it's like, well, I've never been in a Costco. So... Like, genuinely, I have no idea where I would buy that. I think it's just priorities, really. Huh. Yeah, I haven't spent a ton of time in Edmonton. Okay, well, cheese curds are the thing that you get from making cheese. Necrontier. That's all it is. I mean, I know what nacho cheese is. From a dairy business, there you go. Poutine, the ultimate comfort food? I don't know about ultimate. But it's certainly a comfort food. To me, like, brunch is the ultimate comfort food. Like, pancakes. I've never really had any interest in having a Costco hot dog in my life. I have actually had Costco hot dogs, because they do sell them. So I've had them while camping when other people have brought them. But to me, Costco is peak. I am a servant of the road and use my car to get literally everywhere, and this is the only way that I can afford to feed my family lifestyle. And I don't live that life. I never have. My family did, but we didn't live close to one growing up. So it would be like, the nearest Costco to me would be 45 minutes on a bus. I ain't getting on a bus for 45 minutes to then carry Costco-sized food home. I ain't doing that. There is no bone in my body that is willing to do that. Low cost and delicious. I know somebody who spent $2,000 on Domino's pizza for their wedding. Ew, Velveeta's gross. You just don't like Costco hot dogs? You fall in the same boat? I mean, it's one of those, like, they're very cheap things. And so, like, I understand the I will eat this because it's very cheap, but, like... Like, it's kind of like, you know, pre-cooked full chickens. I mean, personally, I find it kind of disgusting, but I mean, to each their own. Somebody died in my hospital? Kind of seems like somebody tantrumed and killed somebody. Yep. One of my doctors, Lytast here, killed somebody. And also has killed enough people that they have a full title. I think I need a more effective captain of the guard. Because my captain of the guard has no hands. So I'm going to make a new squad for my captain of the guard and put a couple extra dwarves in it. And the reason I'm doing this is because then they will go and arrest those dwarves on the captain's behalf. See? Because the captain of the guard can't do it because he has no hands. So I actually need my prison to function, which means a bunch of dwarves are probably about to die. Satisfied at work. Hey! Good to know you like your new job. Nose pointing, no longer thing. If they have no ability to grasp or usage of their hands and they're the captain of the guard, they can't do anything. So we're actually starting to enforce, you know, crimes. Elfie Bean, I have a sketching prompt for you. Would you like it? It's very important. Also, fourth cat? That is entirely too many cats, but Lytast, that the doctor who just beat the shit out of somebody to death, is now dead, having been beaten. Yeah, laptop mimic. I was talking about the final destination, and then we got to mimics and laptop mimic. So a laptop with teeth that bite people. You know, I'm just going to say that I don't find that funny and don't really want my stuff referenced to that, so I'm just going to remove that message, Death by Sleeping. You don't have to take that personally, just don't do that again. And down here, this is still getting constructed, which is taking a while. Tons of logs are getting carried back in. Porcelet!
Good evening, all.
Thank you very much for the 26th month. Just as a reminder to everybody, this is a completely crowdfunded channel. So thanks to people like Porcelet, I can continue to make content for you here on this channel. And I don't take any sponsored money from big companies. If you would like to support this channel the way I do things, you can do that by subscribing to twitch.tv/BLINDRL, considering a super chat, or, you know, if you want, trying to get #1 on the bits or gifts leaderboards, which currently, you only need a single bit to get #1 on the bits leaderboards, or a single gifted sub to get #1 on the subscription leaderboards. And appreciate you as always, chat. Rolf, thanks for chucking a sub over at Aaron Gray. All the way back in July, he was, but he's now realized that being a cat means being an indoor cat, and he's both pleased and very upset. What, the cat's pleased and very upset? Or you are pleased and who's pleased and very upset by this? Oh shit, that's not what I wanted. I want to move my stairs to the center here. Okay, so all of this is done. My neighbor is moving something in their apartment. Or they've just pulled out a nail gun, and I'm not entirely sure which. It's one of the two. They're either moving something really big and heavy, or they've just, like, equipped it a nail gun and are going ham. And I'm not totally sure which. But that is a very bizarre sound. Like, genuinely, that is a truly bizarre sound that I'm hearing. Nail gunning a mimic. Naturally, yes. I mean, what else could it possibly be? You know what it kind of sounds like? It's like if you were to pull something out of something that's just going pop, 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 pop. Like if you had like something stapled to a wall and you were pulling one staple off at a time. That's kind of what it sounds like. It's a weird sound. Well, as long as they don't Kool-Aid Man through the wall, whatever makes them happy, frankly. Happy to help. Dragazan. Neighbors entered into a fey mood. Yeah. I mean, they're fine enough neighbors. They've been very quiet 90% of the time, so, you know, I can't really complain about somebody making noises once in a while. They like hunting around it? Do you have long grass? Because that would probably do it. Okay, so what's this supposed to be? A silvery, oily creed. Okay. And I'm going to cheese this as well. And Jade Bond is now a religious character. I just can't afford to continue doing that. Did I check the trees? For what? Dead bodies? No, because the two dwarves that died, I know exactly what killed them, and it wasn't trees. I think I've had, like, one dwarf die to getting stuck in a tree, and that was a long time ago in this particular fort. Unless you're suggesting I check them for something else, in which case I have no idea what you're telling me to check them for. Oh yeah, that'd do it. In regards to long grass, that would absolutely do it. Oh, I totally forgot that this was a prison. I'm just gonna deconstruct this and get rid of this. Oh, you constantly have to wait for an unloading caravan, which never happens? Like, literally never? Because they have to unload all of the stuff, and then reload all of the stuff. Which can sometimes take a while, which does not mean it's been never, but it can sometimes take a while. Yeah, no, I thought you were asking me. But yeah, if they've never fully unloaded, it usually means that not all of them have gotten there. You could just try deconstructing the trade depot to see if they leave. But it does sometimes take a while for them to unload, because they have to physically unload every single item, and then they have to physically reload every single item. Like, I had somebody in chat once saying, like, oh, the traders haven't left yet, and it's like, well, I sometimes have times where traders literally don't leave for, like, a whole season, because I've sold them, like, 1 trillion pieces of used clothing, and then they have to manually take every single one of those pieces of used clothing off of the map, which can sometimes take a really long time. Well, if you make a trade depot, make a new one, that will make them leave. Like, if you deconstruct the trade depot that they're going to and you make a new one, they will just leave or try to leave. If you're using DF hack, you could try this. Fix stuck merchants. But if you don't have DF hack, there isn't too much you can do. They will eventually leave the map, though. Or they should eventually leave the map. This is the Torment of Passes. Who has arrived to fight with us. I mean, yeah, no, they'll go just off the map, and then they'll wait for him to, like, get out of jail is also a problem. Is also possible. Which cannot unload. Kill the camel if you have soldiers. Otherwise, just deconstruct all your trade depots. If you're having problems, just deconstruct all of the trade depots and they will leave the map. Presuming they have a way off the map. If you have locked doors and there's something stuck outside, then they're stuck. I would just deconstruct all your trade depots and wait until the following year. Is honestly my best piece of advice for you. But don't do that too much, because it will make them go to war with you eventually if you do that too many times. It's one of those things that's a little fiddly when you're first starting out, so happy to try to help if I can. But I will say trading isn't that important. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. They cannot enter the map through the caverns, but they can absolutely leave the map through the caverns. Nothing can enter the map through the caverns except for Forgotten Beasts. These are all apple. That's fine. This will be done faster if I do it this way. You'll be heading out. We'll see you later, dude. Thanks, Hand of Feet. I don't think that DF hack is a must. I think that DF hack makes the game play itself in a lot of ways that, in my opinion, absolutely take away from the game. I think people have been saying it's a must as long as this game has existed, which I think is a bit of a shame. To me, DF hack is a useful tool that should be used accordingly, but I don't think it is a must for everything, and I think a lot of people overuse it to the point where you're not playing a different game, but you might as well be. And I think that's a bit of a shame. So, like, I have it running, but that's why I leave everything disabled. At least all of the automated scripts, because it kind of ruins the game for me. But it's sort of like knowing how to use the console in an Elder Scrolls game is kind of a must if you're going to play it a lot, or mod it, because you want to know how to, you know, skip a quest that's broken for whatever reason, or break an animation that's broken for whatever reason, or like teleport through a wall because going through a door crashes the game for some reason. It's a similar thing to me. Yeah, I mean, that's where I lose it Stonecoat. I don't like when people use it to automate things or play the game for them. I mean, I don't like doing that for myself because it makes me not enjoy the game as much. If other people want to do that, then more power to you, I suppose. See, I don't like that. That's part of what ruins the game for me. I don't want to know that a dwarf's stuck in a tree. I want to find the dead dwarf in the tree because that's part of the game, right? If it stops me from fucking up, I don't want it. I like it when things collapse. And that's fun. Like, to learn the game? Like, I'm in an ad break. I don't know if you can hear me or Asko. If you're talking, well, if you're talking about DF Hack, DF Hack has their own website. If you're talking about Dwarf Fortress, you go to the Dwarf Fortress wiki. They're two separate things. Like, you go to the DF Hack documentation, which is basically a wiki unto itself. But to me, the most important command is disable overlay. Because that's where a lot of the information I don't like comes from. But, I mean, you do you. But yeah, if you're talking about learning Dwarf Fortress, I mean, there's many tutorials on YouTube, mine and others, or you could just go to the wiki. Both are just as fine. If there's dwarves being attacked by birds, you shouldn't let your birds out. If your dwarves are being attacked by birds, death by sleeping, and you are letting your dwarves outside, you fucked up. Fend them off until the attacks lessen, which will happen, and then fight. And then send your dwarves outside. So if you've got birds getting dwarves stuck in trees all the time, skill issue. You've already fucked up. Like, sorry, that was something in the YouTube chat, which is birds will get dwarves stuck in trees all the time. Only if you're a doofus! Be less of a doofus. And it won't happen so much as... If you're playing an older... If you're, like, talking about pre-version 50, Ordston, then... Sure. I mean, those menus were much less, like, searchable. But... Back then, it just made DF Hack crash the game more often than not. You feel like the tree thing isn't intentional in the game detail, but rather a glitch? I disagree. Kind of in the same way that, like... Yeah, I don't know. I disagree. To train tree climbing? I don't know how you would do that. Because the only thing that trains climbing is climbing up and down built walls, which dwarves find it almost impossible to climb. I genuinely don't know how you would train climbing. What am I making? I'm roofing off a water reservoir so that water doesn't overflow. I'm just trying to get it done quickly. I was trying to put a bridge on it, but I'm swapping it out with just flooring so that this little reservoir down here doesn't overflow. Which I should probably close, actually. Speaking of birds, I think we're getting attacked by birds again. Yep. 2 of them, specifically. Goofus and Galleant? I don't know who those are, but I'm sure we need that, clearly. Skill issue. Death by sleeping. I'm just going to keep saying it. Skill issue. It's like this entire fort was built above ground. I can count on one hand the number of dwarves that I've had starve to death in a tree. And that was kind of funny to find. I don't know. To me, it's just comedy. So because it's comedy, I don't mind it when it does happen on the odd time. I mean, if you're actually scared about your dwarves getting stuck in trees, just put stairs into your trees. Not even step ladders. CK3 froze the stream. Oh no! I've been blocked by Paradox. Speaking of Paradox, so chat room, I have a question. Is anybody else eagerly anticipating the Steam reviews for Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2? Or is that just me? I mean, yeah, that too. You could just cut down the trees too. They don't even need to be spirals. Like, I have no interest in Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, really. I have some, like, long-time industry friends that have been working on that game, so I kind of want it to be good just for their sake and their sanity, but, like, I'm fascinated to see how that game does. I mean, hoping it won't be, but at the same time curious about how it does, I guess? I mean, I don't want it to be a shitstorm of sadness and disappointment. It's hard to break through those rose-tinted glasses. I mean, sure. Those modern Deus Ex games weren't horrible. I mean, I'll put it this way, Necrontier. Everybody thought Doom 2016 was going to be horrendous. And that movie was that game was pretty great. True Freak, thanks for the 5-pack. That, hold on a second. Let me just scroll through a thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you very much for more than doubling my income today. Appreciate you. You're a grandfather! Wow. That's a concept. So what you're saying is you fit perfectly now into the 65 plus portion of my YouTube audience, which is higher than the less than 18 portion of my audience. There's a higher percentage of people over the age of 65 that watch my YouTube videos than people under the age of 18 watching my YouTube videos. But congrats. Holy shit. You're under 50. I mean, that's fine. But still, like you I can now unironically say calm down, grandpa. But congrats. Hopefully you have actual celebrations planned and not just gifting subs in my chat. Now you have an excuse to play with Lego again. So there can be more titles? Yeah, I mean, like, it is very rare that I hope that a game fails. That's the easiest way to put it. Why would you need an excuse? Well, justification? I don't know. I would say excuse, but guilty after being confined, guilty after being confined, guilty after being confined, repentant after being confined. At least one of them is improving. Okay, so all this is done. That's closed. Right, the way I blocked this was I built a floor piece right there. Let's unbuild this floor, please. $1,000 Death Star is calling to you. Is it, though? It sure as shit ain't calling to me. They're not both chained up, are they? Nope, you're processing rope reeds. There you go. Bloodlines 2 is maybe setting the bar too high for itself? I don't know. I mean, I feel like in this instance, it would be the audience setting the bar. That's all. Could you imagine, though, if it just had, like, a self-destruct mechanism built into it and it just fell to, like, a billion Lego pieces? Let's see if I forgot to plug any of the holes on this thing. I presume I didn't, but let's see. Wow, wait, buying furniture for your Lego, that's commitment. That is commitment, man. I gotta commend that. Gotta respect that. I need some dwarves. Oh boy. So my mouse has it's a Logitech G402 and it has sensitivity settings on the side of it, and I just bumped it and my mouse is now moving 5 times the speed it's supposed to. Now it's too slow. There we go, that's where I'm used to it. Hate accidentally hitting those buttons. It's the worst, man. You know, honestly, at this point, I think I'd be more interested in doing puzzles. Although, you know what I would really... I'm sure this exists, but, like, I'd want to join a club or something where people trade puzzles. If I got into puzzles again. Because I couldn't imagine, like, having to store those at... Like, that's the thing that keeps me away from puzzles, is having to build puzzles. It's basically a meme at this point. Oh, building coffee. I see. Building it into a coffee table. I get it. The question is, do you also fill it up with epoxy? Also, I should mention, you can get #1 on the bits leaders by sharing a single bit. If that's a bit of a incentive. Oy. There's this place that sells puzzles here locally that emo checks out. I love you. There's a place here that sells puzzles that are made of wood, and they're all paintings. So they're like these big wood, not big, but like wooden pieces that are like weird shapes, but usually end up being about that big. And they're like these brightly colored tapestries, and they're super neat, actually. They're like the sort of thing that you would buy as a tourist going somewhere, and they're kind of too expensive for what they are, so I would never buy one, but they're real neat looking. Well, for board games? Okay, fair enough. I mean, that's a pretty good way to do it, is to trade board games around. Yeah, I don't know. Board games feel too much like work for me. There's only one board game that people can convince me to play. If it's like a family get-together or something. Aside from the fact that I'm always down for a game of Jenga, but that's not really a board game. That's just Jenga. I will almost always be willing to play Wingspan. And I would also try the sequel to Wingspan that they made with Fish. But I'm not sure if that's actually through the Kickstarter cycle yet. No, fuck Arkham Horror. Fuck that shit. I've never actually played Hero Quest, nor have I seen a copy of Hero Quest in real life. But I will play Wingspan. There's a world where I could be convinced to play Splendor as well, which my family played during Thanksgiving this year, and I sat on the sofa and read my book. But I really like Wingspan. I could also be... Cheers, Nutty Wombat. I can also possibly be convinced to play, like, Turn and Taxis or Carcassonne or, what's the name of that one? The one with trains. The one where you build railroads. What is it? Ticket to Ride. I would also play a game of Ticket to Ride, but I have only played that game digitally in the last, like, 2 decades, so... Wingspan, not wormspan. W-I-N-G. Wing, as in bird. Birdwing. What is the most important immediate goal for the fortress? It depends on what you're trying to do. But if you want me to not be existential, make beds and a place for the dwarves to socialize. Unless it's like a place where you're going to be attacked immediately, in which case, things to stop you from being attacked immediately. That's basically it. Spirit Island, not familiar. What about D&D? I would rather do literally anything else for the rest of my life than ever play D&D again. I don't want to play a tabletop RPG. Mostly because I don't have friends like that I would want to play D&D with. And for D&D to work, you need the right crew of people. And I don't have any interest in making friends like that. And I play video games that require a lot of thinking and role-playing for a living. I don't want to do that for entertainment. Because it feels every element of tabletop role-playing just feels like work. I understand the appeal of it if, like, that isn't your job. But, like, no. I ideally will never play any source or form of tabletop role-playing game again. That would be a good thing for me, mentally and physically. They're remaking Deus Ex and it looks terrible. Infectious in YouTube chat. There is a Deus Ex remake coming out. Is it possible to erase all goblins from a continent? It's possible to erase a faction from a continent. It's not possible to erase all goblins in it from a continent. And the reason it's not possible to do that is if you play Dwarf Fortress and you play Adventure Mode, and you go to literally any dwarven fort, 20 to 30% of the population will be goblins because faction motivations and personalities are based on are not based on species, they are based on faction. So you can have goblins that are literally just dwarves in personality, thoughts, goals, ideals, life history, family, name, everything in Dwarf Fortress. So it is literally quite literally impossible to erase every single goblin from a continent. But you could demolish a faction. Have I done that? I tried once on a small world and more or less completed it. Have I done it recently? No. And if you want to know why, it's because it's exceptionally fucking boring. Because you're just staring at the little combat list constantly. And the second a squad comes back, sending them out again. And you just do that on repeat for literally years in game. And I am forever baffled, bewildered, confused, and perplexed as to why people have such a bizarrely fixated obsession over murdering everything of a thing in this video game. In regards to Warhammer, I don't have the money to play Warhammer. I would, if I'm going to dedicate my life to expensive hobbies, I would rather buy records or like houseplants than Warhammer. I'm good. Hard pass. Hard pass. Okay, so this is currently just a way into the fortress. So I need to seal this up. This is just a way into the fortress. No, I mean if you like minis, that's cool. I mean, if that's like an interest to you, then that's a very decent spend of your money because one, you get cute little cool minis And two, you get a game that you could play with them if you want. I have zero interest in painting minis and almost less interest in like the like game. So it's just entirely lost on me. I've got plenty of friends who are way into Warhammer, who would be more than happy to like play if I wanted to, but I just don't have the interest. Worst part was playing. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to like minis, I suppose the world, or actually, you know, fuck it. What if I did it this way instead? The world that I would be interested in getting into would be BattleTech. There is a world where I got way into BattleTech. However, I don't live in that world. For many reasons. Mostly being money. I mean, it only sucks if, like, that is your only thing that you do, and you feel that everybody needs to have the same hobbies as you, Infectious in YouTube chat. Like, I don't think that it sucks that I don't like D&D. I don't like D&D, not because D&D is bad, or a not good use of your time, or even a concept that I dislike. I don't like D&D because the experiences that I had when I tried to play D&D were not fun. It was like I played with a bad group of people who took it too seriously in the wrong ways, who were no fun to play with. And it was a long time ago, and is what it is. Now as an adult, I know that I wouldn't enjoy it, and I would be the problem. Like, you know, as I'm just sitting here, like, trying to reinforce my own base. Like, I don't know if you've ever been in this position, but if you've ever been in a position where you know that you won't enjoy something, and so you just avoid the activity altogether so that you don't ruin it for other people. That's me at this point with D&D. It's not that, like, I don't like the ideas of playing it. It's I don't want to inflict my dislike of this thing on other people at this point. It's sort of like fighting games, you know? If you happen to know somebody who's about your level in fighting games, it is very easy to get way into fighting games because you have a person to learn fighting games with. But if all you ever know are people who are already good at fighting games, it makes learning fighting games not that much fun. Would I do an adventure in DF anytime soon? As soon as they add new content. And I've done several this year, and they've all lasted one stream or half of a stream. I go and I complete an objective, and then I start a new fort. I've always had quite a bit of trouble pulling the same amount of interest in a long-term adventure as I do in a long-term fort. So when I do adventures, they're all one-offs, and I've done several this year already. Oh, okay, fair enough, Infectious. So yeah, I don't have a ton of interest in covering adventure mode as much as I don't dislike adventure mode. There's some people who seem to think I hate adventure mode, which I'm perplexed by. I quite like adventure mode. But then again, you say one thing once and somebody takes that out of context, and then that's my only opinion forever. That's called being on the internet, I guess. But I quite like adventure mode, but it needs more to be easy to entertain an audience with. I like the combat quite a bit, but I don't like grinding in the combat. And right now, the most interesting part of it is the combat, and that's difficult. That doesn't sound right. Thanks for taking me out of context. But no, I really like the combat of adventure mode. It's just like, it's difficult to stream, is more or less all I really have to say about it. For better or for worse, it's difficult to stream. Or adventure mode was less deadly. That's the problem for me with adventure mode, is once you know how to make it not deadly, it's not even remotely deadly, to the point where the player, like, once you know how to, not gimmick, get around the big threats in adventure mode, there is almost no threat to the player. And that's kind of the issue for me. There's no stakes, really. It just becomes slow combat, essentially. Although, being a, like, what? Romanoid was found dead? I don't even know what happened. Did Domo-esque just kill Romanoid? Yep. So I no longer have a manager because one of my elite marks dwarves got thrown in, through a tantrum. Okay, so Domas, what squad are you in? I need this dwarf to leave the map. Like, leave the map. What squad are you in? The Brave Fool? No, that's not Domas. There you are. I clicked on the wrong one. This one. You're also in the Brave Fool. I'm going to remove you from this squad. I'm going to make a new squad. I'm going to take you. And I'm going to tell you to go attack my old fort. Maybe just pillage, so there's a chance they'll come back. I mean, I did an adventure mode run which lasted 7 streams at the beginning of this year. And that run was a 0 to hero attempt. I started as an outsider, so I had no compass. I set the difficulty to the hardest, and I started with 0 stats in anything. And by the end of that run, I took on an army of like 800 dudes that were a bandit gang occupying a town. And won. I made them scatter and split. And then I played another 3 streams of that character. I should make a video out of that character at some point. But, like, adventure mode is cool as a way to explore the world. It's cool early game when you're trying to train up combat and, like, counter things and quite exciting. But long-term adventure mode runs, to me, are just not that interesting to watch. They're pretty fun to play, to a point. But you gotta remember, when people ask me if I'm going to do a big adventure mode run, you need to remember, I need this to be fun to watch. And I have a hard time getting people to watch roguelikes. I really like roguelikes, proper roguelikes, traditional roguelikes. I really like the process of streaming them. I really like playing them. I really like watching them myself. I really like learning them and diving deep into those systems. I really, really, really enjoy that. But even things like Cogmind, you know, a very well-developed, interesting game with compelling combat and cool systems and tons of content, is hard to get an audience of people to watch. And that game is significantly more interesting in all levels of its gameplay than adventure mode is to watch. Adventure mode has a few things about it that are really fucking cool. And most of them are the fact that it's the same world as your fortresses. But it still has the problem of it's really hard to keep people interested in watching. And I don't know how to solve that problem, and that's why I don't do a ton of adventure mode streams. I mean, I did a adventure mode video, which some people saw, Wordston, but I need to do another one because I have all the footage from it. It's one of my movies. It's called I Was the Chosen One. It's like 15 minutes. Got like 70,000 views or something. It did okay. Oh, it's extremely easy once you know how to get it. Oh, I mean, you don't need that, rather. You just make it in fort mode, is how you get it. Like, if you want to get, like, good gear in adventure mode easily, Wretched Television, make it in fort mode and go get it. Like, that's the part of adventure mode that's interesting, is the fact that you can do all of your preparation in fort mode. Like, literally just go get it. But also, I never had that with that 0 to hero character. Like, literally, I was using just steel gear, and I demolished the enemy. Absolutely fucking demolished them. Just using, like, steel gear. So, like, you don't need that stuff. No. No, you don't. Not really. You just need really, really, really good dodging skills, depending on their gear, or really, really, really good throwing skill and some coins, and coins are easy to get. Like, I killed a Titan by throwing a coin at its head. You just want... Okay, I mean, if you just want cool, shiny things, then, like, yeah, sure. I think, like, the problem with adventure mode, and I've talked about this ad nauseum for the past 10 years, it feels like at this point, is that Dwarf Fortress was always a crowdfunded game. And no matter how many times, and whenever they updated adventure mode primarily, people would complain they didn't update fortress mode. Like, if they turned around and put out an intricate quest system and, like, animations and all sorts of things that made adventure mode cool right now, there would be some people that are really happy and a lot of people that are really mad that they didn't update fort mode. And that's the problem with adventure mode, is because it's always been like 20% or less of the people who play fort mode also play adventure mode or only play adventure mode. And so it's a much smaller audience. And the people who play fort mode are very loud and vocal. So whenever they do put out a lot of content for adventure mode, the user base complains. And in the current era, that will and does manifest as negative Steam reviews. Dwarf Fortress got the most negative reviews it's ever gotten the day adventure mode released out of beta. Because a lot of people were like, why didn't you update fort mode instead? This is a waste of time. Like, literally, that is the problem with adventure mode, is that it's two games, and they're very different. And a lot of people play Dwarf Fortress for the fortress mode, which is fair. Most people don't care when they update adventure mode. Some people do. They're not as financially incentivized to update adventure mode. And some people complain when they update adventure mode. I have no idea what either of those games are and probably won't care. No, not really. Soul Prayer. I don't generally get excited. Was that rough demographic also the case before Steam? Oh, yeah. I mean, like, before Steam, when Dwarf Fortress was just crowdfunded, like, if Tarn spent 6 months updating the World Gen stuff, some people would be like, where's the Fort Mode update? Every time. If Tarn spent 6 months updating adventure mode stuff, people would complain that there wasn't a fort mode update, so then Tarn would not finish the adventure mode stuff that he was working on and then beeline in a different direction and quickly put out a fort mode update that was half-baked, and that's how you got bugs like, you know, cats dying of alcohol poisoning. Because I think from the developer's perspective of this game, adventure mode has always been the primary mode. From the audience perspective of this game, fortress mode has always been the primary mode. Because how many stories of adventurers went as viral as Boat Murder? The music was way too on point for that. You know, if you look at, and that one person in the VODs who gets mad when I talk about stats is going to comment on this immediately, but like, if I go to my YouTube videos and I search by most viewed, okay, so fort mode, 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 fort, Caves of Cod, fort, 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 fort. Okay, cool. Fort, fort, fort. There is some adventure mode in this. Fort, 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 adventure mode. Adventure mode. Fort. Like, it's in the name, right? Which do I upload more often? What do people watch? What do people learn first? What do people play the most? Like, what do people complain that they don't want to see when I upload? What do people say they want to see more of when I upload adventure mode? That Caves of Cud video has such bad retention. It's like kind of sad, actually. It hurts me a bit inside, I'm not gonna lie, but what gets half the audience watching when I stream it? Or maybe not half, but a significantly smaller portion of the audience watching. I mean, personally, I enjoy Fort mode more. Because adventure mode is painfully underdeveloped in a lot of ways. The only thing that's really cool about adventure mode is getting to see the world from a different perspective, which is really cool, and the combat. And the combat gets boring once your character gets good at it. Like, I am in the same boat as a lot of people who don't like adventure mode. And it's not because I don't like adventure mode. It's because adventure mode is underdeveloped in a lot of glaringly obvious ways that take a lot of the enjoyment out of it. And that is just because of the amount of development it's gotten over the years. Like, it's kind of a... Is this a chicken and the egg problem? It's like, adventure mode isn't the most interesting part of the game, so people cover it less, and people cover it less, so people are less interested. What does that have to do with making adventure mode fun to play, Soul Player? You need to realize that most of Krug Smash's audience doesn't play the game. Like, I like Krug Smash a lot. He's a great dude. But Krug Smash's talent and skill for making videos is that he can engage an audience of people that don't play the game. Totally. Happy Bassett. Exactly. But I don't know. I've gotten two prevailing opinions on adventure mode in the time that I've played it, and in the time that I've tried to stream it, which is either I don't like watching this from my audience, or I don't want to play this, so I'm less engaged when I'm watching it, but I'll watch you play it. That's about it. I think to me what adventure mode needs is pretty simple. Well, not simple to implement, but simple to speak in words. It needs them to put... They need to put the building back in. I didn't like the building in older versions because it was underbaked and half finished because people got upset that they were working on adventure mode, not fortress mode, and Tarn got distracted. So they need the building back in, but it needs to be better. There needs to be not one-to-one, but a similar amount of crafting to fortress mode as an adventurer. It needs some sort of life sim elements, and the characters in towns need to do more than just stand stationary forever until you kill them or steal their things. And there needs to be some sort of punishment for crime. That isn't just, oh no, you're a murderer! Ah! Stands stationary and does nothing. Like, it needs to be closer to Kenshi. But the problem with that is, in order to get the game to that point, they probably would need to dedicate quite a bit of time. And in doing so, they would lose a large portion of their audience, who are going to inevitably get slowly frustrated with the lack of fortress mode development. And I don't know how to solve that. My problem exactly, Ordston. There isn't really many other goals in adventure mode because that's the most developed part of it. But I don't honestly know if adventure mode will ever get there. I think it's more likely that adventure mode is going to end up going in the direction of like better dungeon generation, better quest stuff, and just become like kind of a Diablo / mercenary sim. Because it is called adventure mode, right? It's not called life mode or something. I think that's kind of how the developers look at it, but I don't really know. Anyway, we should probably get the dwarves locked inside now. Because we are getting to that time where the goblins are going to attack me anyway. Anyway, I don't want to be like doom and gloom or come across like I'm talking smack about the game, because that's not really my goal. I'm just... When you make content about a game for a living, you just kind of have to be realistic sometimes. And it's just the reality that there's a much smaller audience of people interested in adventure mode, which I think is unfortunate for in a lot of ways, but it is the reality. At least it's the one that I've encountered. As I understand it, Wretched Television, I'm also not a programmer. Is Dwarf Fortress is easy to add new systems to. It's difficult to rework old systems. And yeah, no, totally. In fairness, they are very, very different games. It's time-consuming to rework old systems, but not impossible. It's just time-consuming. And if I deconstruct this, it's going to shoot water everywhere, so I actually can't do that. As I understand it, it is time-consuming to rework old systems in Dwarf Fortress because it isn't built on a pre-existing code base. It's quick to add new systems to Dwarf Fortress, but sometimes those can cause problems which then need to be fixed. And it's just a matter of priorities and time. That's how I understand it. And a lot of the, like, if you go to a YouTube comment section or like a forum and you read about Dwarf Fortress, you'll see one of three sentiments. Just getting into it and loving it. Played it ages ago and don't like the new versions, because new versions don't have the features that the old versions had. And it's always like one or two things, like hotkeys or something. Macros, something. Usually ends with hotkeys or graphics. Or I play it every now and again, get into it and get out of it, and I'm frustrated by the mountains and piles of bugs. And sometimes those are bugs that have been fixed 5-6 years ago that they presume are still in the game because they haven't played the game that long. And I think that there is a very real goal in the development of this game to fix those bugs that those people are perpetually complaining about and keep people playing. And I don't think you get there by simply making adventure mode better. I don't see that being so much of a thing, but mayhaps I'm entirely off base. I don't know. No, absolutely, Ordenstein. Like, that is the current priority, because, like, what is one of the biggest complaints from the possible audience from RimWorld that Dwarf Fortress could tap into a little bit more in the current year? Game's easy, true. Siege is boring, also true. So if you can make sieges interesting and make the game harder, you could tap into more of that audience. And I think that that is a current focus because, one, I would like more interesting sieges. I've played this game for a really long time, and I would like more interesting sieges. I would like siege weapons to be useful. And I would like some new challenges. You want to go to bed now? You snooze good, dude. Thanks for swinging by. I mean, I agree with that sentiment. I think that that's a a positive thing for them to be working on. This guy has a crown. Why do you have a crown? Giant cardinal sparrow crown. Oh, shit! It's this guy! He killed Torsten Longbeard. This guy's been here before. He was here in the year 32. He was here last year. And now he's back. With an extra pair of every piece of clothing. Huh. He's got 2 shirts. 2 tunics. He's got 2 pieces of armor and armor. He's got 2 pieces of trousers and trousers. And leggings. Welcome back, you stinking goblin indeed. Howdy do. They're going to be scouts for embarks, and that's the best way to use it, Clem Hazard. Or for bringing interesting individuals or items from previous fortresses to a new fort. He's just cold? I mean, this place is scorching hot, but okay. He needs to lair. Also, this guy... One of these is injured. Ability to stand lost. Yeah, this was another one that I maimed. I wonder if this was one of the ones that I threw off of the thing. Well, this goblin got a major injury. I love seeing goblins that are already injured from previous sieges show up again. That's always fun. Although maybe that means I'm bad at my job because I didn't unexist them entirely. It's not this goblin's first rodeo. It might be his last, though. Have you ever heard of Sim Ant? I played Sim Ant. Long time ago, but I played Sim Ant. I believe in sportsmanship? What, letting them leave? Or letting them escape? As in, like... showing mercy? What do you mean? Dwarven Atom Smasher, I think, is like... I don't mean this to be, like, demeaning or, like, a way to say that you're not good, but it's, like, baby's first... like, siege prevention structure. Also, I realize this is really bad timing, chap. I really need to pee. I've been streaming for almost 3 hours. I'm just going to run a real quick ad break and go use the toilet. So I'm just going to pause the game, and I will be back in, like, under a minute and a half. BRB. Just give me a few seconds. Could I get a round of beers, chat? Your underground river's going poorly? Oh no! It's okay, pumps can fix that. I 100% agree with the Dwarven lava setup. It just works so well that you just keep postponing making a better setup. Made a 120 block tall lava pump stack and some intricate things with that. I'm really curious to see if those old tried and true methods are still going to work at all after the siege stuff. So I have no idea how effective this is going to be, but this is me trying to gurgle the enemies using water. Zero idea how effective, if at all, this is going to be. So let's find out, shall we? Uh-oh, what are you running away in fear from? There you go. Give the lever a pull. So goblins have moved past quite a bit. Let's see how this goes. Nice. Not bad. I don't think it's going to drown many of them, but it'll certainly cause them problems, which is all I really want. I don't know how this giant wild boar got out here, but one of my giant wild boar piglets ended up in the river somehow. So now what I can do is I can bring my militia, at least the ones that I'm going to use for combat, all the way over here, who've been training this whole time. And now oh, well, that's a bit of a problem. That's a bit of a problem. Well, geez. At the very least, I was thinking, well, it'll slow them down. No. Well, no, it is. Okay, it is breaking them up a bit. Because I was thinking, now I could run down into here and fight some of them. Which is true, I can. You're about to die there, Rimtar. It's about to be a rough day for you. Bad news there, Dwarf. You're now going just the wrong way in general. My Mark's dwarves are appearing and running along the side and starting to disarm the goblins. And doing pretty good work. I do have 2 full squads of Mark's dwarves along here. This dwarf up here has lost his ability to stand, but it's not stopping him really. I mean, he stabbed at the goblin swordsman with a spear, but it was deflected by a short sword and says, I've improved my armor and I'm very satisfied, which is, I presume, good. A dwarf jumped in and died. Rest in peace, Arath. So did a weaver, and one of them was my mace lord. Well, that's not great. We've got 2 more dwarves here fighting, trying to fight at the edges of this. You know, there is a small part of me that's just like, what if I just let this fortress die right now? And then we just start a new fort. Got more dwarves falling. The Thanos urge? Yeah. Just like the Call of the Deep or whatever. Uh-oh, you got one dwarf that just got flung off the edge and is now... oh, you're stumbling around obliviously. You're not even, like, functional as a dwarf. What would the gimmick of the next fort be? Let's worry about that after this fort's done. It's a little bit pointless to discuss. The question is, do you guys want me to let this fort die? That's the question. If yes, then let's have a dramatic end. You guys are very impatient, is what I'm trying to say. Because I could maybe stop this, but pretty soon it's going to be very difficult. I wonder if I could... I'm going to let it die, chat. I've just kind of decided. I've made the decision right about now. Another Marksdorf going in and dying. The bolts are flying. Is that injured goblin still alive? That's what I want to know. The one with the crown. So where is this planter? You should go deconstruct that is what you should do. More bolts are flying. Focused metal dwarf. Has killed one of my dwarves before, which is kind of wild, if you actually think about it. I should rearm these squads with literally anybody who can stand. We got Box back here. He was just getting impaled repeatedly. Managed to stand up. Oh, nope, never mind, fell back over. Didn't stand for very long. Oh, shit. That militia captain survived somehow. Which is actually kind of impressive. How did your pillage go of my old fort? I don't know. I will say the same thing I say about every fort. I have about 12 I could make videos out of. So it's just a matter of when the mood strikes. I have hundreds, it feels like. I literally have terabytes worth of footage of Dwarf Fort. In the late autumn, Poobert outmatched the Goblin Domas with a cunning plan, and the defenders had a strong positional advantage in Colorbeard. Poobert. Remember Poobert? Imagine fighting Poobert, chat. I could turn this lever off. I'll try and do that a little later. Oh, that won't actually do anything now that I'm looking at it. That's unfortunate. More bolts flying. Oh, no, certainly. I mean, this fort was interesting regardless. But I think, like, at least there's kind of an upper limit to what you're capable of doing. And then it's just kind of a matter of whether or not you're willing to grind to get past that upper limit. And at this point, I don't think I am. This is one of my elite marks dwarves. Many kills on goblins and sparrowmen. Just continuing to dodge. You will fall, dwarf. You may be Grandmaster, but you're not invincible. I mean, Poobert's still like a legend of a fucking dwarf, let me tell you. An absolute goddamn legend. All right, now with that running, let's pull this. Let's start the river just refilling. This dwarf just like in a martial trance. Run, fool Jaws! He's trying to pick up equipment. He's now got more bolts. What did he pick up? Oh, he's already fired them all. Well, that was fast. I wanted to see what kind of bolts he got. See what this dwarf is able to do. Come on, man. Oh, he got more bolts. What did he pick up? Llama bone bolts, that's all. I'm going to set all of my squads to just go patrol the top map. It's just firing bolts, runs away. Dwarf is like good enough at... I was gonna say he's good enough at kiting the goblins that he's able to get away. No, I mean, this fort was neat. Like, actually, chat, I'm curious. What did you guys think of this fort? I had a lot of fun with it. I mean, it was chaotic in a good way because it was Untamed Wilds. So, like, basically the entirety of this fort was getting attacked by giant birds and other giant animals, which was entertaining. I kind of wish that the giant alligators showed up again, but they didn't. We just got giant wild boars. Did any of them drown? I don't think anybody drowned, no. I'm killing this fort. We're going to start a new one. Clim Hazard. That's what we're going to do. I was planning to keep this fort alive and then kill it tomorrow, but, I mean, this seems like a decent opportunity, honestly. Like, I could have saved this fort by simply locking the door. Like, that's all I needed to do, was just lock the door. But sometimes it's better to end it. It's a good damn fort. I agree. Hi, Elfie. This fort's dying. Actually, is my Baron still alive? My Baron is still alive. Who's currently in the hospital? Honestly, that checks out. I'm just gonna delete the hospital. We don't need that. I wonder... Let's see if you're even able to get some gear. Nope. Ineth, the Sacred Earth, has been elected mayor. I wonder if any of the goblins have gotten names. Oh, we do. This guy here, the Grand Tar of Dreading, has killed 6 dwarves, including some otters. Have I made any other notable goblins? Like this guy, who's healthy. He's killed 5. Most recently killed Fool Joss, honestly. The Thunders of Proliferation. Oh, that's a good name, actually. Oh shit, the siege is over. Well, that's kind of wild. That's actually kind of absurd. Who's still alive? Let's just put everybody into this squad. Just get everybody armed and trying to fight. Let's see what the last few goblins are able to do. This guy dropped a shield. Oh no, you've got a pike, which just doesn't have a shield. Kills a dog. 8. Our left goes up onto the upper level. Oh, he's climbing up onto the wall, I think. He's fighting with a dwarf who's up on the wall. He's one of my recruits, no longer alive. Watch this guy get a name. Oh, he's into the hospital. Oh, wow. The dwarves were able to kill him. Due to some of them being wrestlers and having some skill. Here comes a few more goblins. There's another one right here. This guy's got an axe. The New Dagger of Devils. What a name. I hope we see these goblins again. We've got Earbiter, who appears to be rapidly becoming one of the most threatening things here. He bites the Goblin Axeman in the head, deflected by the Goblin Axeman's upper helm, shakes him around by the head, tearing the fat and bruising the muscle. So we won't be seeing that goblin again because Earbiter just bit him in the head to death, more or less. So it's now Earbiter and a handful of goblins. Let's follow Earbiter because this dwarf is funny. Is that just a tablet of life and death? Yep, and dwarves are incapable of reading it in fortress mode. In adventure mode, they can read it, though. Pieces of him flies apart, and that's it. It's also made of bright metal, and I was using it to build and satisfy all of my temples. By just putting one tile on that tile. That's so many overlapping temples. It's not even funny. But chat, you know the lyrics to this song? Capital M's. Looking good indeed. California Ninja Lawyer. One could say that you're here just in time. It's time to start a new fort. Make an adventurer to pick it up? I could do that. I need to topple it, though. So now we need a theme for the next fort, hey chat. But right now, can I get a Vile Force of Darkness here in Twitch chat? And also, a whole bunch of Kogan songs. You guys know the lyrics. You can sing along. I'll be back when you're done singing. Volcanoes are just easy mode, man. We could do a volcano, but that's not a theme. Ooh, actually, clay and a volcano could be interesting. California Ninja Lawyer. I do have to say, Chopsick is one of the better names we've come up with for a fort. What happened to the fort? I was planning to end it either today or tomorrow, and we got hit by a big siege, and I just kind of said, fuck it. So, I think, like, for the next fort,